Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're diving into the surprisingly hidden depths of pool pump installations. I know, on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward, right? It's just a motor that moves water. How complicated could that possibly be? Well, as the Melbourne-based experts over at Tri Ct Elec reveal, there is actually a highly complex, totally hidden world beneath that little humming box in your backyard.
To kick things off, let me ask you a question that, well, it might hit a little too close to home for some of us. Is your pool pump currently tripping circuits? Man, there is literally nothing quite like the sheer frustration of getting ready for a nice, relaxing weekend swim only to find out your pool equipment is shutting down your entire power grid. You go out, you flip the breaker, it trips again, and suddenly your peaceful backyard oasis just feels like a massive headache.
Okay, let's really dive into this. There are a few telltale, visible signs that your pump is on its way out. We're talking about things like struggling to prime, sounding super rough, almost like grinding gears, running really hot to the touch, or, like we just said, tripping those safety circuits. Now, it's so incredibly tempting to just look at those symptoms and think, okay, my pump is busted, I just need a new one. But experts actually urge us to look a little deeper. You see, these symptoms often point not just to a broken motor, but to a much larger systemic problem with your entire setup.
To understand why that is, we kind of need to completely shift our mindset about what this equipment actually is. A pool pump is not just a simple plumbing fixture. It's really not. It's a high-use piece of critical electrical equipment that operates in a highly hostile outdoor environment. I mean, think about it. It's constantly exposed to this brutal mix of intense summer heat, unrelenting moisture, totally unpredictable weather, and highly corrosive pool chemicals. That is a wildly harsh environment for literally anything electrical.
And this brings us to what we call the iceberg concept. On one side, you have what you can actually see, the pump, the motor itself. But that is literally just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface, there's a massive, unseen electrical system supporting it all. We're talking about the power feed, the safety isolators, the ventilation, protective enclosures, the physical cabling, the whole shebang. The pump is really just one tiny component. If that underlying system is flawed, well, simply swapping out the motor is exactly like putting a brand new, high-performance engine into a car that has absolutely no brakes.
Which brings us to a term that makes pretty much every electrician instantly nervous: water ingress. Basically, this is what happens when water penetrates your electrical enclosures. It sounds super clinical, right? But the reality is incredibly severe. When you mix electricity with splash zones and, say, poor or deteriorated cabling, you aren't just looking at annoying system failures, you are looking at catastrophic safety hazards. Water always finds a way in, and if your setup isn't perfectly sealed and positioned, you are just inviting trouble.
This naturally leads us to the hidden reasons why these installations actually fail. There are several major dangers lurking out of sight. You've got poor ventilation causing huge heat buildup. There's that nasty water ingress we just talked about. Undersized cabling that literally just cannot handle the heavy load of the motor. Tired, outdated protection devices. And honestly, just a generally unsafe outdoor power supply. Here's the kicker. If you have an unsafe power supply, pulling out the old pump and plugging a shiny new one into that exact same compromised system is incredibly dangerous. The actual underlying threat hasn't been fixed at all.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. Mixing water and electricity with a quick DIY fix is a massive, massive safety risk. This is absolutely not the place to cut corners or try some quick weekend swap you saw a video about online. Dealing with pool electrics requires strict professional compliance. You need someone who truly understands circuit protection, isolation, and all those environmental hazards we just mentioned. And that is exactly where true professional expertise comes into play. That number, 15, represents the over 15 years of hands-on, Melbourne-based experience that Tri Ct Elec brings to the table. They're a fully licensed, safety-first team, and they deeply understand that a proper pool pump installation is about so much more than just swapping a box. They're looking at that entire iceberg to make absolutely sure your home is genuinely safe.
So how exactly do they tackle this? Well, Tri Ct Elec uses a brilliantly straightforward, no-drama, 5-step framework. First up, a quick site check for water ingress and a look at the existing supply. Second, they confirm the power needs and safety protection, just to ensure the circuit actually matches the load. Third is the installation itself, complete with super tidy cable routing that's fully protected from the elements. Fourth, they test the circuit and carefully check the pump's behavior. And finally, step 5, a simple handover where they explain everything in plain, easy-to-understand terms with totally transparent pricing. Every single electrical and safety requirement is meticulously met.
I absolutely love this specific approach from their process outline. They say, we stop and troubleshoot rather than leaving you with a half-working setup. I mean, that is the exact attitude you want from a licensed professional, isn't it? You want an electrician who is going to openly discuss the risks with you, who prioritizes safe, tidy results, and who absolutely refuses to just walk away if something looks even slightly off during that testing phase.
Now, what's really interesting about all this is a question pretty much every pool owner asks eventually. Are energy-efficient pool pumps actually worth the hype? We all know pool pumps are notorious for chewing through electricity, mainly because they run for hours on end, day after day. So upgrading to a shiny, energy-efficient model seems like a total no-brainer for your wallet, right?
Well, actually, scratch that. It's a bit more nuanced. They really only save you money if they aren't fighting system restrictions or leaking air. Think about it. A pump that is incredibly energy efficient on paper will still absolutely waste power and drive up your bills if the whole electrical and plumbing system isn't set up perfectly. If it has to work overtime to compensate for a faulty layout, well, those promised energy savings just completely vanish. The installation dictates the efficiency just as much as the pump itself.
And, there's an even broader electrical picture to consider here. Installing a new pool pump often shines a spotlight on issues with the very heart of your home's electrical system. Adding heavy, continuous pool loads to an older, crowded switchboard, that is a major safety issue. A professional installation team will catch this right away. They recognize that sometimes, to safely run that brand new pump, a switchboard upgrade is actually the much safer, smarter long-term move for your entire property.
We have definitely covered a lot of ground today, from the hidden dangers of water ingress to the real-world reality of energy efficiency and the absolute necessity of a safety-first approach. But I want to leave you with one final provocative question. When was the last time you checked the safety switch on your pool equipment? If you can't remember, or if you've been putting up with a pump that constantly trips circuits or runs hot, it is definitely time to view your pool pump not just as a quick plumbing fix, but as a critical electrical upgrade. Please, don't risk a DIY disaster. Take the iceberg seriously and make sure your backyard oasis is actually as safe as it is relaxing.